The world of WWE isn't just filled with intense matches and legendary superstars. It also holds countless personal stories that often go unnoticed. Behind the bright lights and roaring crowds are wrestlers who have passed away, leaving their families and children to carry on their own paths. Some chose to follow in their father's footsteps and enter the wrestling business, while others decided to take a completely different direction, far from the spotlight. In today's video, Wrestling Sphere will explore what truly happened to the children of WWE wrestlers who are no longer with us. 1. Eddie Guerrero, an unfinished legacy and the journey of his children. When it comes to Eddie Guerrero, no WWE fan can ever forget the shock of his sudden passing in November 2005. Eddie was one of the most iconic figures in professional wrestling, leaving an indelible mark with his crafty, cunning style and his famous catchphrase, "I lie, I cheat, I steal." Before his untimely death, Guerrero built a remarkable career spanning Mexico, Japan, ECW, WCW, and finally reaching his peak in WWE. Joining the company in 2000 as part of the Radicals, he quickly made his name by capturing both the European and Intercontinental Championships. After a release due to substance abuse struggles, Eddie fought his way back, forming Los Guerreros with his nephew Chavo, and eventually skyrocketing on SmackDown between 2003 and 2005. His crowning achievement came when he defeated Brock Lesnar to become WWE Champion, solidifying his place as one of the most beloved superstars of his generation. Yet, health issues compounded by a history of addiction ultimately took his life at just 38. The cause was ruled as acute heart failure. His death left a void in wrestling, but WWE honored him with a place in the Hall of Fame and numerous tributes celebrating his enduring legacy. Beyond the spotlight, Eddie was also a devoted family man. Married to Vicky Guerrero since 1990, he had two daughters, Shaw Marie and Sherilyn Amber. During a brief separation, he also fathered another daughter, Kaylee Marie. After his passing, these three daughters became the living extensions of his unfinished story, carrying forward the legacy of Latino Heat. Shaw, the eldest, was the first to follow in her father's footsteps. In 2010, she signed with WWE and trained in FCW under the ring name Raquel Diaz. Considered highly promising, her career was cut short in 2014 due to struggles with an eating disorder. Though forced to leave her in-ring dream behind, Shaw never completely walked away from wrestling. After recovery, she found personal happiness, marrying wrestler Aiden English in 2016. Away from competition, Shaw reinvented herself as a commentator and host for several independent promotions and even AEW. Beyond wrestling, she embraced burlesque performance in Chicago, carving out her own unique identity while staying connected to entertainment. Sherilyn, the middle daughter, chose a very different path. At 28, she settled in Houston, Texas, working as a client coordinator and medical aesthetic specialist. Alongside her career, she explored art and digital content creation, pursuing passions far removed from the wrestling world. However, her personal life carried its own challenges. In 2020, Sherilyn revealed on social media that she had been assaulted by her mother's husband. The incident created a severe rift between her and the rest of the family, straining her relationship with both her mother and sister. The emotional scars led her to distance herself from them, focusing instead on her work and personal growth rather than reconnecting with the wrestling business. Kaylee, Eddie's youngest daughter, was only 4 years old when her father died. Too young to fully grasp the magnitude of his legacy, she grew up largely removed from his wrestling spotlight. Now 21, Kaylee has found her own passion in special effects makeup, particularly in horror films. Unlike her sisters, Kaylee never pursued wrestling, choosing instead to forge her path in the creative arts. While she doesn't step into the ring, she remains part of Eddie's legacy, proving that a family's heritage can live on in many forms, not just in wrestling, but also through artistry and imagination. Eddie Guerrero's life ended far too soon at 38, leaving behind deep sorrow. Yet, through Shaw, Sherilyn, and Kaylee, his spirit continues to live in different ways. Whether through carrying the wrestling torch, leading a quiet professional life, or pursuing cinematic artistry, each of his daughters has extended his legacy in her own manner. Though they have taken separate paths, all three remain undeniable proof that even after a legend's journey ends, the story of family and influence carries on, written in many different forms. 2. Chris Benoit, a tragic legacy and the children left behind. Chris Benoit was once regarded as one of the finest technical wrestlers in professional wrestling history. Before tragedy struck, he had already built an impressive resume with nearly 30 championships across promotions like WWE, WCW, NJPW, ECW, and Stampede. He held the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, won the 2004 Royal Rumble, and joined the select group of wrestlers who captured both the WWE Triple Crown and the WCW Triple Crown. Had it not been for the tragedy, Benoit's name might have been remembered as an eternal legend. But in June 2007, at the very height of his career, everything came crashing down. Over the course of 3 fateful days, Benoit murdered his wife Nancy, then their 7-year-old son Daniel, before taking his own life. The shocking events shook the entire world, wiping away his celebrated career overnight. Investigations later suggested that severe depression and brain damage caused by years of wrestling-related trauma may have contributed to his horrifying actions. What many don't know is that before Nancy, Benoit was married to his first wife, Martha. Together they had 2 children, David and Megan. Following their divorce in 1997, both kids lived with their mother in Alberta, Canada. After their father's death, David and Megan largely disappeared from the public eye, choosing a quiet life away from the spotlight. Over time, however, David Benoit began reappearing at events and interviews. He openly expressed his desire to follow in his father's footsteps, despite fully understanding the controversial nature of his legacy. David trained for a period at former wrestler Lance Storm's Wrestling Academy in Calgary, though he never completed the program. He even considered wrestling under the name Chris Benoit Jr., since his middle name is also Chris, believing it would serve as a tribute rather than something shameful. In several interviews, David revealed his wish to adopt the same technical style that defined his father, even preparing ring gear inspired by Benoit's iconic look. While he currently works in the oil and gas industry, his dream of one day stepping into the ring has never completely faded. Unlike her brother, Megan Benoit has chosen a path of silence. She avoids public attention entirely and has no ties to professional wrestling. Her private nature has kept nearly all details of her life unknown. The stories of David and Megan represent 2 very different choices in the shadow of tragedy. One attempting to carry on an unfinished legacy, the other seeking peace in anonymity. No matter the path, both remain forever linked to the Benoit name, a name both glorious and haunting in WWE history. 3. Andre the Giant, the immortal giant and the story of his only daughter. When people think of Andre the Giant, they immediately picture a towering figure with unmatched size and strength. Standing 7 feet 4 inches tall and weighing 520 pounds, he was famously nicknamed the 8th wonder of the world. Yet behind the spotlight, there was a quieter side to Andre, the love he carried for his only daughter, Robin Christensen. Born with acromegaly, caused by excess growth hormone, Andre quickly became a phenomenon. His career began in 1966, and by 1971 he had arrived in the United States, where his name would achieve worldwide recognition. From 1973 through the mid-1980s, Andre was the top box office draw for the Worldwide Wrestling Federation. His fame wasn't limited to America. He was equally admired in Japan while competing for New Japan Pro Wrestling. The 1980s marked the golden age of WWE, and Andre rose to the very top. His legendary clash with Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 3 in 1987 became an era-defining moment. A year later, he defeated Hogan at the main event to capture the WWF Championship, the brightest highlight of his career. Even after parting ways with WWF in 1990, Andre remained a major attraction, especially in All Japan Pro Wrestling, where he often teamed up with Giant Baba. While his extraordinary size made him a legend, it also shortened his life. On January 28, 1993, Andre passed away in his sleep at a Paris hotel, the result of heart failure linked to his condition. Just the night before, he had been happily playing cards with friends. His death sent shockwaves through the wrestling world. He was posthumously inducted as the very first member of the WWE Hall of Fame and was later honored by both the Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Fame and the Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. Beyond wrestling, Andre became a cultural icon, appearing in films and television, most notably in The Princess Bride. Andre left behind an unmatched legacy in wrestling, and one daughter, Robin Christensen. She was the child of his relationship with Jean Christensen, a model and public relations manager in the wrestling industry. The two met in the early 1970s, and Robin was born in 1979. Andre's relationship with Jean was rocky, and his relentless travel schedule kept him away from home. Throughout her life, Robin only saw her father in person 5 times, precious encounters that carried immense emotional weight. Even so, Andre never neglected his responsibilities. He provided financial support and set up a trust to secure her future. Upon his passing, all of his assets went to Robin, making her the sole heir, proof of the care and foresight Andre had for his daughter. Today, Robin lives in Seattle, Washington. Though she once considered stepping into wrestling, she soon realized it wasn't the right path for her. Instead, she pursued acting and other artistic ventures. While she never followed him into the ring, Robin remains deeply connected to Andre's legacy. She manages the rights to his name, image, and brand, meaning any film, product, or project that uses Andre's likeness requires her approval. She also contributed as a consultant for the HBO documentary on her father, ensuring the story was told with accuracy and authenticity. Additionally, Robin benefits from the commercial use of his image, showing how Andre's legacy continues to provide for her even decades after his passing. The story of Andre and Robin intertwines triumph with solitude. Andre, the giant adored by millions, was also a father who carried personal struggles. Though they had little time together, Robin dedicates herself to protecting his memory. If Andre the Giant was truly the eighth wonder of the world, then Robin Christensen stands as living proof that his legacy endures, not only in wrestling history, but forever in the heart of his only daughter. 4. Curt Hennig, the perfect legacy in WWE history. Curt Hennig, better known as Mr. Perfect, was one of WWE's most gifted stars during the late 1980s and 1990s. With flawless in-ring skills and unmatched confidence, he quickly cemented himself as a legend in the eyes of fans. Sadly, his career and life ended far too soon when he passed away in 2003 from a drug overdose. His loss not only left a void in the wrestling world but also deeply affected his family, especially his son, Joe Hennig. Stepping out from the massive shadow of his father, Joe was determined to pursue professional wrestling. After signing with WWE, he adopted the ring name Curtis Axel, a tribute combining his father's Kurt with his grandfather Larry, the Axe, Hennig. The name symbolized both family pride and the responsibility of carrying the Hennig legacy forward. Curtis Axel began turning heads as a member of the Nexus, a faction that shook WWE to its core. While he wasn't the group's centerpiece, he showcased resilience and adaptability, proving his worth in the unforgiving world of wrestling. His most defining career moment came when he captured the Intercontinental Championship, the very title his father had held with such prestige. That victory became a symbolic link between two generations, moving fans who saw Curt Hennig's legacy live on through his son. Though Axel never reached the legendary status of his father, he carved out his own place in WWE. He stood as proof of persistence and the drive to establish his own value rather than relying solely on his family name. For Joe Hennig, every match was more than just a personal endeavor. It was a mission to keep the Hennig name alive in professional wrestling. Curtis Axel wrote his own chapter while honoring his lineage, proving himself as one of the most successful second-generation wrestlers to continue the legacy of Mr. Perfect. 5. Umaga, an unfinished legacy and his son Zilla's next chapter. Edward Smith Fatu, a proud member of the legendary Anoa'i I family, was first known to WWE fans as Jamal when he teamed with Matt Anoa'i, Rosie, in the group 3 Minute Warning. After leaving WWE in 2003, he quickly made a name for himself in All Japan Pro Wrestling from 2003 to 2005, before returning in April 2006 with a completely new persona, Umaga. With a vicious style and brutal offense, Umaga instantly became a nightmare for every wrestler on Raw. He is best remembered for his dominant undefeated streak and especially his heated clash with John Cena in early 2007. During his career, Umaga captured the WWE Intercontinental Championship twice and played a memorable role as Mr. McMahon's enforcer in the famous Battle of the Billionaires at WrestleMania 23, one of the most replayed moments of his short but impactful career. In June 2009, Umaga parted ways with WWE and continued competing on the independent circuit until tragedy struck on December 4th of that same year. His wife discovered him unconscious on the couch, bleeding from the nose. Although doctors managed to revive his heartbeat, he suffered irreversible brain damage. Later that afternoon, another heart attack claimed his life at only 36 years old. The autopsy revealed the presence of multiple painkillers and muscle relaxants in his system, compounded by pre-existing heart and liver issues, which ultimately led to his sudden death. Umaga left behind his wife and 4 children, with Zilla being the most recognized by the public. Sadly, Zilla's early years were marked by scandal after he was convicted of armed robbery and spent 6 years in a Texas juvenile facility. After his release, he chose to honor his father's legacy by training at Booker T's wrestling school. His debut match was deeply emotional, as he performed his own version of the Samoan Spike to pay tribute to Umaga. However, after that promising start, Zilla's career has remained relatively quiet, with little news about his progress in the wrestling world. Still, with the Anoa'i bloodline running through his veins, many fans continue to hope he can rise again and carry forward the legacy left unfinished by his late father. 6. Owen Hart, Tragedy and the Journey of His Fatherless Children. While Umaga's son chose to follow his father's footsteps in wrestling, the children of Owen Hart took an entirely different path. Owen belonged to the legendary Hart family of Canada, one of the most powerful dynasties in wrestling history. He is remembered not only for his incredible in-ring talent, but also for the heartbreaking death that left an unhealed wound for fans and family alike. Throughout his career, Owen Hart achieved numerous accolades. He held the USWA Unified World Heavyweight Championship once, the Intercontinental Championship twice, the European Championship once, and became a 4-time World Tag Team Champion. In 1994, he was crowned King of the Ring. With world-class technical ability, agile performances, and creativity in every move, Owen was regarded as one of WWE's brightest stars of the 1990s. He frequently appeared in the main events of pay-per-views, solidifying his importance within the company. But fate delivered a cruel blow on May 23, 1999, at Kemper Arena in Kansas City. During a live pay-per-view, Owen attempted a dramatic entrance by rappelling from the rafters. A malfunction in the safety harness caused him to fall more than 70 feet. Though rushed to the hospital, the injuries were too severe, and he was pronounced dead. The tragedy unfolded in front of thousands of fans in the arena, but fortunately was not shown on television, as the broadcast had cut to a pre-taped segment at the time. Owen Hart's death shocked the entire world. He passed away at just 34 years old, leaving behind his wife Martha and their 2 young children, Oi Edward Hart, only 7, and little Athena Christie Hart, just 3 years old. Martha later explained that an adjustment to Owen's costume had unintentionally triggered the quick-release mechanism of the harness, turning what was meant to be a daring stunt into an irreversible disaster. Unlike many in the Hart dynasty who devoted their lives to wrestling, Oi and Athena chose a different direction. After the family won a lawsuit and received a $3 million settlement, Martha dedicated herself to raising the children while founding the Owen Hart Foundation, with both Oi and Athena contributing to its work. The foundation focuses on scholarships, affordable housing, and charitable causes, carrying forward Owen's humanitarian spirit beyond the ring. Today, Oi Hart lives in London, where he successfully earned a PhD in human rights, a career far removed from the wrestling legacy of his family. Alongside his academic pursuits, he follows his passion for music as a rock guitarist. Athena has also grown into a strong and independent woman. After graduating with a degree in journalism in 2016, she explored acting while continuing to work with her mother and brother in the foundation's efforts. The 2 children who once endured a devastating loss have now matured into accomplished adults, living meaningful lives while honoring their father in a different way. Though they never set foot in the squared circle, Oi and Athena Hart are still carrying on Owen's legacy, quietly, yet with purpose. 7. Ashley Massaro, a tragic star and the daughter she left behind. Ashley Massaro entered WWE in 2005 with a bold, standout image and was quickly thrust into a rivalry with the villainous group Vince's Devil's Crew on Raw. After moving to SmackDown, she shifted roles, becoming a valet for the WWE Tag Team Champions. Though her career was relatively short, Ashley made her mark with memorable moments, most notably challenging Melina for the WWE Women's Championship at WrestleMania 23 and participating in the Playboy Bunny Mania Lumberjill match at WrestleMania 24. In July 2008, Ashley departed from WWE. Still, she didn't completely disappear from the spotlight. She continued appearing in major magazines, including the April 2007 issue of Playboy, and made appearances on television shows, music videos, and later as a radio DJ for 94.3 The Shark. Tragically, Ashley's life came to a heartbreaking end. On the evening of May 15, 2019, after finishing responses to fan mail, she failed to appear for a shift at WWSK-FM. The next morning, emergency responders were called to her home in Smithtown, New York, where she was found unconscious. She was rushed to the hospital but could not be revived. In September 2021, her death was officially ruled a suicide, a devastating loss that shook fans and colleagues alike. Few knew that Ashley's decision to leave WWE back in 2008 stemmed from motherhood. At the time, she wanted to dedicate herself to raising her daughter, Alexa, whom she had given birth to at the age of 19. After Ashley's passing, many of her former WWE colleagues came together to create a GoFundMe campaign to support Alexa's education. The goal was set at $100,000, and thanks to overwhelming support from the wrestling community, the amount was quickly reached. Today, Alexa lives in Smithtown and is pursuing her college studies. She once tried her hand at modeling, but wrestling does not appear to be her chosen path. Still, she carries with her the memory of her famous yet ill-fated mother, Ashley Massaro. 8. The life and children of Brian Pillman after tragedy. Brian William Pillman, a name that left a powerful mark on the world of professional wrestling. He began his career in Stampede Wrestling during the 1980s before rising to prominence in WCW, ECW, and WWF throughout the 1990s. Pillman's legacy is forever tied to his loose cannon persona, an unpredictable, reckless character who created shocking storylines that left fans both fascinated and uneasy. Toward the end of his career, Pillman reunited with his close friend and former tag team partner, Stone Cold Steve Austin, in a notorious storyline involving firearms that shocked the wrestling world. He was also a key member of the Hart Foundation during the early days of the Attitude Era. However, in 1996, a devastating car accident severely injured his ankle, limiting the high-flying style that had made him famous. Even more heartbreaking, Pillman passed away suddenly in 1997 due to an undiagnosed heart condition. He died at a young age, leaving behind 6 children, both biological and stepchildren. Life was far from easy for them. Brian Pillman Jr. and his sister endured abuse at the hands of their mother's new husband, at times even struggling with hunger. One of his adopted daughters, Alexis Michelle Reed, known in the ring as Sexy Lexi Pillman, tried to carry on her father's legacy, but fate was cruel. In 2009, she tragically lost her life in a car accident at just 26 years old, cutting short her dreams. On the brighter side, Brittany, another one of Pillman's daughters, found a positive path. After graduating college in 2016, she successfully opened her own clothing store, ASJ Haven Company, in Edgewood, Kentucky. Today, Brittany enjoys a happy life with her husband and their young son. As for Brian Pillman Jr., the only son to carry the Flyin' Brian bloodline, he chose to follow in his father's footsteps. Beginning his career in 2017 under the guidance of Lance Storm, he quickly proved his talent, making a name for himself in AEW before moving to WWE. Currently competing in NXT under the name Lexus King, he continues to pursue the dream his father was forced to leave behind. Beyond the ring, Pillman Jr. also honors his father's memory by using the Twitter handle @Flyin'Brian Jr., a tribute to the legend who inspired him. It's been an emotional and surprising journey into the lives of the children of WWE legends. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to Wrestling Sphere, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming stories.